Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today, I am sick. If you've been here before, you may be able to tell that I kind of have a sick voice. It's allergies. It was very windy last night, so you'll have to excuse that as well as a little bit of brain fog. Today we're going to be quickly going over my Project Pan 2021 products as well as my 2021 low buy rules. So basically, in doing my Project Pan for 2020, I realized just how long and how much effort it takes to use up even a single product. Even things that I found were easier to use up, like lip glosses and setting sprays and things like that, still took months. So basically, I'm just going to go over some rules about my spending habits, things that I'm not allowed to purchase, things that I'm allowed to purchase, and I'm not gonna be too strict on it. Going through my collection, there's things that I'm like, I definitely don't need to add to this category in my collection. And I just want to be a smarter consumer, especially now that I know there's so many things in my collection that would take really like a long time to finish up. So I just want to be better about what I'm adding to my collection. So I'll quickly go over my 2021 low buy rules, and then we'll get into the products that I'm going to be focusing on in the next year. Okay, so for my very low buy rules, all my face products, so foundation, concealer, powders, blush, bronzer, highlight, and primer, I'm not allowed to buy any of those. Most of the time, that's not none of those appeal to me. It's not like those are the things I'm spending a lot of money on. Occasionally, there will be like a bronzer or a blush that I'm very drawn to, especially if it's in a different I guess like form that I'm used to, because I use a lot of powder products, so like gel blushes, cream blushes, things like that really appeal to me. But for the most part, it's pretty easy to say no. I am allowed to repurchase or add back into my collection once I've used up all of like a certain category. So currently I only have like 3 or 4 setting sprays. So if for some reason I go through those throughout 2021, I will be allowed to purchase another setting spray. But in the meantime, while I still have setting sprays in my collection, I'm not allowed to add to that. So I also said that I'm not allowed to buy any lip glosses unless I've used up several. I haven't put like a specific requirement down. Let's just say 5. I have 2 of them in my Project Pan for like the initial setup. It is a rolling Project Pan, so if I use up both lip glosses, I will add more into it. Yeah, so no lip glosses. Lip gloss is something that I like to spend money on, especially the Fenty ones, but again, lip products are pretty easy for me to say no to unless it's something very unique. Like I do like the Sugar Pill lip glosses and like lipsticks because they always come in really beautiful like shades and textures and things like that. But for the most part, most liquid lipsticks I am not super drawn to because I'm really picky about like lip formulas. So I think that'll be easy for me to get through. I also said minimal lip products. So I said if they're bullet lipsticks, it's okay to add if they're of a very unique color or like texture or something like that, which honestly, there's probably not going to be a lot that fit that bill unless it's like Sugar Pill. They have very unique textures and stuff. But I think for the most part, I'm not super drawn to like adding lipsticks. Like if there's one that catches my eye, I'll be intrigued, but usually I'm good about holding off about it until I'm like, okay, I'm making a purchase to this brand anyway, let me put this in my cart because I've had my eye on it for several months. But other than that, I'm not allowed to add any bullet lipsticks. I said the same thing for liquid lipsticks. So there is one from Sugar Pill that I really like. I forget the name of it. I want to say it's called Dropout, but it's like this deep olive green with like sparkle in it. It looks so pretty. So if it's something like that, that one I've had my eye on since it launched, which was like, I want to say at least 6 months, but I'm fairly positive that was maybe like a year ago. So if I make a purchase to Sugar Pill, I may pick that up, but we'll get more into like how many purchases I'm allowed to make. I said lip liner is okay if one is used up for my collection in a similar shade. So I think I have all the lip liners that I could need. I did repurchase the one that I used up for my Project Pan last year, which is the Wet n Wild like gel lip liner. There's one in a really like pretty pinky nude shade that's like my perfect nude. So I did repurchase that one because honestly I used that one up pretty quickly anyway. So the rest of my lip liners, I feel like they're good shades and I'll probably get a lot of use out of them, and I don't really anticipate me buying a lot more lip liners. Eyes, I said liner is okay if unique to my collection, but I did I did purchase like 2 eyeliner vaults during Black Friday. So I got I purchased 3. Okay. 2 of them were from ColourPop. So one was the more like nudie, kind of neutral ones, and then one was their like bright, colorful, like pastel ones. I have one of them here, so I'll just show you this one. This is the colorful one that I purchased. So there's all those. I also have like the LA Girl, the neon ones. I have the pastel ones that I've had for a while. And then I purchased one of the like Epic liner vaults from NYX that they had out during the holiday. So I'm basically set for like pencil eyeliners. Those are what I use most. I use like a pencil eyeliner in my waterline almost every single day. I have like bright pink going on right now. So I don't really think there's anything I would need to add to my collection there. I'm pretty set. Let's see. I think liquid liners, I only really use black. I do anticipate having to repurchase my NYX Epic Ink liner just because mine is getting a little older and I've noticed that it's starting to like drip and leak a little bit. So if I run out of this, it is something that I will run out to repurchase because I love this. But other than that, there's not a lot of like liquid liners that I tend to reach for. So I said no mascara, and we'll get into why. I have a lot of little teeny tiny like mini mascaras that I've gotten as like a free gift or like in a bundle or something like that. So I'm not allowed to repurchase any mascara until I've used up most of the ones in my collection. I don't like to have mascara just kind of like sitting waiting, especially because it's one of those ones that if you open it you have to use up basically immediately. It's like 3 to 6 months they go bad. So I usually only have one mascara open at a time, but I would like to get rid of like all the little extra ones that I have. I also said no single shadows unless they're very unique to my collection, which at this point there's not a lot. I mean, single shadows do vary very greatly. There's like tons of brands, and especially like in indie eyeshadow companies and indie brands and things like that, there's so much variation. So I'm not really gonna be like looking for loopholes. I'm not really gonna say, well, I have a purple with a blue shift, but this one is a purple with a navy shift. I'm not gonna go that far into it. If there's a single shadow that I'm really interested in, I might pick that up. For the most part, I'm pretty happy with my single shadows, and another goal of mine is to use my single shadows more often, especially, you know, kind of making my own like palettes and color stories and things like that. That is something that I would like to do more this year. Okay, so I said no liquid shadows and liquid like eyeshadow topper kind of things unless I've used one up. I only have a couple of those in my collection, and I will try and get more use out of them, but that is something that I'm not allowed to buy unless I'm using the ones that I already have up. And basically, when it comes to my palettes, I have set pretty strict rules. It's not super strict just because I do know that palettes are something that I really like to collect and to have. Eyeshadow palettes are one of my favorite things to buy and to use, but I do have so many that most color stories aren't going to be that unique. So really I'm looking for really interesting textures or formulas and things like that. And I said that palettes are allowed to be bought once every 2 to 3 months, and that so basically this no buy or low buy is going to end at the end of November because I do want to pick some stuff up when it comes to like Black Friday. I don't want to go out on Black Friday and like purchase all the things that I didn't buy throughout the year, but there is some stuff that, you know, I will want to pick up. So it's going to end basically on Black Friday. And so, yeah, every 2 to 3 months, I might be more strict than just say every 3 months. So basically like 3 eyeshadow palette purchases throughout the whole year. And what I'm doing right now to kind of curb any temptation is if I'm scrolling through Instagram or watching a video on YouTube and I see a palette that I'm really liking, I will go onto the website, I will look at that palette, take a screenshot, and then I have a list in my notes app where I'm just listing all of the eyeshadow palettes that I'm interested in. And then when it comes to time, so like in March when I make my first purchase of the year, I'm gonna go through and really narrow down and be like, which one is the one that appeals to me most, that I think would make it easier to ignore all the other ones. Basically things like that, where it's like I'm being very, very careful about what I'm looking to pick up. So there's that. So basically those are all my low buy rules. I hope that wasn't too rambly, but basically just gonna be cutting down in all categories and just doing my best to use up more products than I'm bringing in. So let's quickly go over the things I'm going to be focusing on in my 2021 project pan, and then we'll wrap this up because I know this video is going to be long anyway. Okay, going with the setting sprays first. These are both by Mario Badescu. They're more like facial sprays, but I use them as setting sprays. I just like to use a spray of some sort. It doesn't even need to necessarily make my makeup last longer. I just like to use something like this in between layers of like powder just to make sure it's not like looking too thick or textured or anything like that. So these I'm gonna try and use up. Mario Badescu is kind of a shady brand now anyway, so kind of just want these out. Quickly we'll go over lip products. I have two bullet lipsticks. One is the Too Faced La Creme lipstick in the shade Spice Spice Baby. I'm wearing it on my lips right now, and I actually have this one on my lips right now in like the inner part. This is the NYX Butter Lipstick in the shade Ripe Berry. My two lip glosses for this project, one is the ColourPop Ultra Glossy Lip in the shade Fairy Floss, which is kind of like a milky nude. And then this one is a little embarrassing to talk about because this is old as shit. It's crazy. I think it's because this has lasted so long because for the longest time I just didn't use it. I didn't use it at all, which is impressive. I don't know why I didn't use it. First of all, it's a gorgeous formula, and I'm really upset that this is old and like it hasn't existed for like years. This is the Tokidoki brand lip gloss in the shade Ninja Dog. I loved Tokidoki in like high school. One of my friends got me into it, and then they had their own like mini collection in Sephora, and I picked this up. Do not look up what year that the Tokidoki brand makeup line was in Sephora. I promise you, you don't want to know. But because I didn't use this for like years and years and years, it still works really well. I haven't had any weird reactions. It still smells the way it did when I bought it, which is like a beautiful, not that I can smell anything right now, but it's like a blue raspberry candy scent. It's so good. And this gloss formula, they need to bring it back. I don't care how long it's been out of existence, they need to bring it back because it's this beautiful, it's very similar to like the Fenty one where it makes your lips feel very plush. It's not sticky at all. It's super shiny. This is like a blue kind of thing, but it basically comes off clear. It's so nice, and I'm angry that I have to use it up, but I really do because it's old. And then quickly, I have 3 ultra blotted lips here from ColourPop. Basically, the only reason I'm trying to get these used up is because almost all of them are like only at like a third. Like you can see you can't see the lines. I can see the lines, but basically they're all about here because I used these a lot when they first launched. But now I haven't been reaching for them as much, but they are getting older. And since they're so close to the bottom anyway, I just thought I'd focus on these. Okay, and then some skin kind of base products. I have 2 from e.l.f. here. This is the e.l.f. Mineral Infused Face Primer. It is kind of like a silicone-y, slippy kind of primer. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. I just kind of want to get it out. It's fine. I don't see that much improvement. Honestly, if you're asking me, I do think primer is like a little bit of a scam. I think as long as your skincare is done well and you just have like a good moisturizer, most makeup is gonna work on that just fine. And then I also mentioned this in my Project Pan 2020 finale, but I do have another one of these e.l.f. Beauty Shield primer things. I mostly use this for the SPF in it. So there's that. I have two foundations and a concealer. The concealer is the Photo Focus Concealer by Wet n Wild. Just looks like this. It's about halfway done, so I don't think this will take me too long to use. And then I have two foundations. They're both from NYX actually. This is the Total Control Drop Foundation. This one is almost done. I have like maybe 10 uses left in here. And then the other one is the one I'm wearing today, which is the NYX Born to Glow. This one's also really nice. It blends out really nice. It lasts pretty well, so I'm just trying to get more use out of this. And then we'll talk about highlights and blushes. So I have a liquid and a cream highlight. The liquid one is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in Moonstone. It's the liquid one. This is really, really gorgeous, and I obviously don't have that much left over in it. I'm wearing it today. It's just very glowy and glossy. It doesn't have any sparkle or shimmer or anything. It's just very glowy. It makes your skin look really radiant. The other one, the cream one, is the Glossier Halo Scope, I think these are called, in the shade Topaz. I don't wear this one as much, especially now, because it is kind of deeper than my skin. So I think it's going to be one where if I'm wearing a highlight that's a little too intense or like metallic or frosty looking, I'm going to take a little bit of this on my finger and then just kind of like tap it over to make it kind of work better and like melt into the skin a little more. But this one's also nice. And then I have a powder highlight. This is the Pixie Beauty highlight. This is actually a beauty blush duo, whatever the fuck that means. It's supposed to be a blush, but I don't know on who. Mine is broken, so I can't really show you. I can show you with the cap on. I don't know if you can see. But mine broke. I don't know how. I think it was just like rattling around in my drawer. So it is broken. It kind of feels like I'm using a loose highlight now. It is very soft and gorgeous, and it's applies really nice. It's very smooth on the skin. And then my blushes, these two are from my project pan from last year. They are also Pixie. They're the Pixie Multi Bombs in the shade Baby Petal and Watermelon Veil. And then I also decided to pull in the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Flush Blush. This one is in the shade Berry Pop. It's kind of like that wiggly jelly kind of texture. And then moving on to bronzers, I technically have 3 that I'm going to be working on. The first one is a cream bronzer. This is the Milk Makeup Cream Bronzer in the shade Baked. It's really nice. It's just the mini one. I really like it. I used it today. And then this one is the Fenty Beauty Sunstalker Bronzer in the shade Caramel Cutie. I did talk about this in my Project Pan 2020 finale as well. This is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Contouring Palette. I talked about how I hit pan on both sides of it. One side was accidental, the other side had already been, the pan had already been there for a while. But I did decide that I just want to get use out of this. It is a lot of product, but it is also very powdery, so I think I could get a lot of pan out of that. And then last category is eyes. I will be focusing on, like I mentioned, all my little mini mascaras. I'm currently using this mini Too Faced Better Than Sex, and then after that I will be moving on to this Tarte kind of trio that my mom got for me. And then for my eyeshadow. So there's 2 Super Shocks that I want to use up. The first one is one of the matte Super Shocks. This is in the color Melrose, and I actually use this as a blush today on top of some of my cream blushes that I was using. And it's really, really pretty. I don't know if a lot of people would like this as a blush shade, but it's kind of like an orangey brown, like a really deep terracotta, and I think it's really pretty. So I think I might get a lot of use out of it that way. And then for a sparkly one, I picked the Super Shock Shadow in the shade Light Up, which is an ultra metallic. I'm pretty sure this one was part of like a holiday quad of Super Shocks that Kathleen Lights came out with, but this one, it's hard to show just because the pan does fall out of there. But this is like a beautiful rose gold. Sorry, I'm like holding my hands very awkwardly. I don't want it to fall out. But it's really pretty. I have it on like the center of my eyes today. And then the palette. ABH Modern Renaissance. We know her. We love her. This is what mine looks like. I don't have the most progress in it. Oh God. Come on. There we go. So this is what mine looks like. I've been using it for a couple years now. My Modern Renaissance I've had for a while. I got it maybe like a year and a half after it launched, just because even after all that time went on, I still think it was really well talked about and people still loved it. So I picked mine up, yeah, like a year and a half, maybe 2 years after it launched, and I still do love it. I love the Anastasia eyeshadow formula. I think it's really, really easy. Because it's so powdery, it can be messy, but I feel like for the most part, everything still blends together really, really seamlessly. So I think even for beginners, this is a really nice palette. I don't particularly love Anastasia as a brand anymore. I think they fell off a lot after they did like back-to-back releases end of 2019. And there was also so much stuff that came to the surface about their business practices and the way they treat specific influencers and yada yada yada. So I don't particularly support them as a brand anymore. I don't think most of the stuff they come out with is particularly inspired anymore. But I do want to get use out of this. I already have it in my collection. I already spent the money like years ago. So I am just gonna do my best to use this up, honestly. I basically want to set a goal of hitting pan in at least 4 of the eyeshadows in here. I think that is a good minimum, but I'm hoping to do even more with it. Ideally, I would hit pan in like everything, but I'm not gonna like push myself that much. I think it will be easy for me to use this and to get pans in there, just because, I mean, for one, I'm not particularly like attached or like soul bonded to this palette. I love it. I think it's really nice, but if it gets really messy and dirty, I'm not going to be upset about it. I mean, the front, as you can see, is already kind of messy and dirty, but I will be kind of using and abusing these shadows. I'm not going to be gentle with them per se, and I do think I will be able to get a lot of use out of this, which at the end of the day is what I want. So that's basically everything. This is my baby. This is what's gonna get me through 2021. I'm hoping to use up a good amount of these products. If you're doing a project of any sort for 2021, I'd love to hear what you're doing, what products you're using. And that's it for me today. I gotta go lie down. I'm just gross. I'm gross today. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.